Hello everyone and welcome back to Make Your Mind. This is the final video for Shin Godzilla. And this is indeed the form that many people don't know, or they maybe not remember from the very end of the movie. But spoilers real quick. There will be some spoilers in this video, so if you don't want to be spoiled, you can click away. You can go check out this video if you want. Go check that one out. And but if you don't mind being spoiled because the movie's been out for over 5 years, then let's continue. So at the very end of Shin Godzilla was actually eventually defeated when during, let me see if I can remember this right, Operation Yashiori, that's its name. Operation Yashiori was essentially the operation that the Japanese government was going to was going to basically perform in order to eventually stop Shin Godzilla. And it was basically a combination of making him use up all of his atomic energy, using drones with missiles that couldn't even affect him, and then getting him to drain his energy, and then on top of that, using explosives to actually topple buildings that are close to him so that they can subdue Shin Godzilla and bring him to the ground. And then the third, which was the major part of the plan, which was to make Godzilla ingest a blood coagulant that was actually meant to basically freeze up his entire body so that he can't cool his nuclear reactor, and then the internal biological nuclear reactor would essentially shut down. It would scram, which if you don't know what that is, just look it up for yourself. Look up nuclear plant scram, SCRAM, and you'll find out what that is. But essentially, it's basically where the nuclear reactor is too cool and becomes sort of dormant in a way. But just before Godzilla becomes dormant and is frozen in place, right in the middle of Tokyo, at the very end, the camera zooms up to the very top of the end of his tail where there was a supposed mouth that also shot an atomic breath. Now, if you look at the actual sculpture, which I will leave a link to that picture down in the description below, it did actually have a human jawline and a human jaw, like a human skull, inside Godzilla's tail that was the size of Godzilla, which is really cryptic and really creepy. But the more creepy thing about it was, in fact, what was coming off of his tail. And that's the premise of the sculpture today. This is a little diorama that I made, sort of showing off Shin Godzilla's fifth form that may get touched up on, may not, but here it is. Shin Godzilla's fifth form. I made these not too long ago. Essentially, these humanoid-like creatures would sprout off of the end of Godzilla's tail, and there was about 12 or 15 of them, at least the ones that I could count looking at the picture. And this was a little diorama of what these creatures sort of looked like and sort of what they would be. Now, these would be massive humanoid creatures that would be over 20 feet tall. And they would have, of course, the spines on Godzilla like it does. Spines on his back there and back there. And they would also have this spiny tail that would also look like Godzilla's spines on his back. And this is a tail that they would use for a weapon. But it would be very humanoid in appearance. It would have a human skull, and it would have this sort of, this open hole in the front, which is like a sensory organ, but it didn't actually have any eyes. Now, just to give you guys some better context, there's actually a fantastic creepypasta that I was actually listening to the other day with another Twitch streamer, Scully044, who's very active on this channel. And he introduced me to this creepypasta, and I will leave a link down in the description below for that. That is one of the coolest things, but these humanoid creatures were essentially walking around and just stalking people, not really making any noise, and just being super, super creepy and just terrifying. But imagine that. Imagine multiple of these 20-foot tall plus, or they could be 20 foot. I think in the creepypasta they're only about 9 feet tall. But imagine these tons of these running around, because in the original script, or actually I think it was laid by one of the writers, or it could be one of the directors actually, I can't remember, one of the directors of Shin Godzilla said that Godzilla was defeated by a committee, meaning the Japanese government and the Japanese Defense Forces, and also in combination with like coalitions of the U.S. government, the Russians, the French, the Chinese, you know, a couple of things. So in order for Godzilla to evolve to defeat humanity, Godzilla itself would have to become a committee. And that's why it was sprouting off these humanoid forms. Because in order to defeat your enemy, I guess you had to become one. So that was sort of Godzilla's 5th evolution. Which, I really wish that they would... Ooh, it's raining outside. You probably can hear that in the microphone. It's raining like crazy over here. But it's all good. But hey, with this being the final Shin Godzilla video, let's go ahead and bring all the rest of them in, shall we? So I've got the first sculpture I did, which was my depiction of Nakanosu-kun, which is the aquatic version that eventually evolved into the favorite of them all, which a lot of people have been saying is their favorite, which is Kamata-kun. So Kamata-kun was next. That's evolution number 2. Alright, here, let's move the 5th forms over here. And the next is Shinagawa-kun, right here. Here's Shinagawa-kun, the next evolutionary step for Shin Godzilla. You're going to go right up there. There we go. Move the tail back. There we go. And then, of course, the big bad himself, Kamakura-san, the big form of Shin Godzilla, which was the sculpture that I premiered actually this last Saturday, which a lot of people seem to enjoy. I'm so glad that people love these sculptures, but here we go. Here are all of the 5 forms, at least the 5 forms that we are aware of. Apparently there were supposed to be up to 10 forms, but they got kind of crazy after that, they became very Lovecraftian. Like sort of, you know, like Godzilla basically becoming God incarnate itself, and a lot of really, really fascinating ideas, but who knows if these ideas will even be adapted into movie form or even book form or even video game form. We don't know. But there you go. Shin Godzilla. Ending with the cryptic and terrifying 5th form, the Committee. The massive humanoid Godzilla interpretations that, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, these creatures would all have individual nuclear reactors powering their own bodies, and maybe even have some of the similar powers as Shin, maybe photonic rays, maybe even an atomic breath itself. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe we'll get some news on that in the future, or not. Maybe it'll be up to fan speculation. But with that, there you have it, folks. Shin Godzilla. Now, if you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to leave a like down below, and remember to subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications, so you don't miss the next video. I also have merch for sale, if anybody's interested. I have my limited edition watermark pins that my caricature is holding right here. They look just like the watermark of my channel, so go check those out. I also have 2 other pin styles. I have my deluxe pin right here, so go check those out. And, for a limited time, I have this, the Gargantuan pin. I handmade all of these, every single one of these pins, I made by hand, with these hands right here. And with these pins, I will only be making 20. 20 pins, and then that's it. So get them while you can. These will be available on my Etsy store with the links down below. And if you wish to contribute to the channel as well, there's also a paypal.me, so go and check that out as well. And with that, everyone, thank you so much for supporting this venture that was, and always will be, Shin Godzilla. Thank you so much for watching. I will see all of you on the next Sculpture Showcase.